Hi friends, welcome back to my channel Heal Lift Rise. My name is Karla. Thank you all so very much for joining me here. Truly appreciate every single one of you, all of your love, support, and kindness to my channel. Of course, if you are new, welcome to the Heal Lift Rise community. I hope you'll become a part of this wonderful, amazing tribe where we talk about all things healing, lifting a vibration, and rising to become the best version of ourselves. I am on this journey with you, friends. So excited, so very honored to be a part of your journey and you a part of mine. Today, I wanted to share with you a special message with a little backstory. But I wanted to talk about something that has occurred, something I've experienced recently, and how it's kind of also shifted my reality when I prayed about it and even pulled cards on it. So most of you might know that I do tarot, and I've done tarot for several years now. I've only done it mostly for myself and family friends, but I also have been paid for tarot and did personal readings a couple times. But anyways, I decided to do a little tarot, a little card reading, and it was oracle cards. But I did a little reading because I had something that came up recently, and I'm sure you've experienced this, where you have this like inner battle sometimes where you're wondering whether to say something and whether to not. You know, everything you have to pick and choose your battles, right? And essentially nothing has to be a battle, but it's basically a choice of whether or not you're going to speak your truth, whether or not you're going to say something that needs to be said. Of course, always in the best possible way, right? But I always feel sometimes that maybe, you know, I don't say anything. Maybe I don't, because I've learned over the course of my life, I talk a lot, and I've always been that person that I just talk and talk and talk, and I always feel like I have something to say. And since my awakening, I feel like that's become less and less, where I would rather just observe and rather just, you know, remain quiet or let things go more, and which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But then I start to think about the times when I need to speak up. And this is most important when it comes to my daughter, because there have been situations that have really pulled me out of my comfort zone and really tested my my patience, my strength, and like so much internally, because there's been times where she went through bullying, and I had flashbacks to my childhood of when I was bullied, and you know how impactful it was on me and how it changed so much of my life. Thank God it didn't change my heart, because I always remained a kind person. And that's something I'm teaching my daughter, is that even though there are kids in this world that are going to be mean, they might say something not nice and, you know, negative to you, I want you to always remain kind and remain your true loving self, because that is what's going to change the world. That is the difference. You are the change. So, this, you know, all of these things, like I said, around mostly with my daughter, has caused me to have to get out of my comfort zone. I've had to use my voice in, you know, situations that I never thought that I would have to. I've had to, you know, speak my truth, and I've had to be the voice for her, because I swore to myself that, you know, I would never allow, you know, kids, you know, other kids to get away with things that they shouldn't be getting away with. Of course, when it comes to verbal stuff, I've had to teach my daughter to let things go, because people are always, kids and people are always going to say something that you don't like, but you have to learn to ignore it. And this is how you grow thick skin, because you learn that you don't have to listen to it. But it becomes a problem when somebody's putting their hands on you, and this includes kids. You know, putting their hands on you, hurting you in some type of way is never okay, period. Like, I don't tolerate that. So I've had to, you know, say something. And it's been a journey. It's been a time, because like I said, it's really pulled me out of my comfort zone. I've had to say things and be very direct, be very concise and forward with how I speak. Of course, I always come from a loving place, and I always choose wisely the words that I am going to say, because everything, in my opinion, has to be tied into love. It has to come from love. Even when we are angry, even when we're upset, it's okay to be angry, it's okay to be upset, but to remember and be aware of ourselves when we are speaking to others, and when we are trying to create change, and when we're trying to get through to somebody else, remembering our heart and our love, our center. It's been a challenge. It's been a challenge. But essentially, I've had to go through, like I said, tough times, things where I've had to speak my truth, and then sometimes almost wondering if that was okay. And I've had to validate that for myself and tell myself that it's always okay to speak your truth, because I've learned that by now, if I don't speak my truth, I'm not honoring myself. And I'm basically suppressing my truth, suppressing my throat chakra, and basically creating a block. Every time that I'm not speaking my truth, and what I feel inside needs to be spoken and needs to be said, unfortunately, we are going to make other people upset with what we have to say. Not everybody is going to like what you have to say, but there are going to be times and circumstances that you have to say what it is you're feeling needs to be said. You know, another way that we create change in this world is remembering that, yes, we are the change. And there are times when we're going to need to say something and take action and do things that are going to create the change that we want to see. And it's going to be uncomfortable, because it's not always comfortable. It's just not. And if you look at all the great people in our history, the people that have walked before us, the people that have walked with us, that have wanted to create change within themselves because they know in their heart and soul certain things needed to change. Take Jesus, for example. Wanting to create change. It was uncomfortable, and he knew that. And he knew people weren't going to like what he had to say. There were people that were against him, people that wanted to, see him, killed because of him speaking up for what he felt was right in his heart and in his truth. Same with John Lennon, Martin Luther King Jr. I mean, there was people that didn't like what they had to say and what they stood for. But in order to really create the change, sometimes it comes with going outside of your comfort zone and speaking your truth and saying how you feel in the best possible way, and knowing that it's going to trigger some people, it's going to rattle some cages, and that is okay. You have to honor that. You have to honor that when you are wanting change. And so I've been dealing with that recently, of something that I want to see changed for my daughter and her school, and certain things that I feel should be changed. I pulled a card last night about this, and I asked God and my guides, and was like, what is it that I need to remember in the midst of all of this? And what is it that I need to know at this time, and during all of this? And the card that came out was Christ, the Christ card. And so it talked about Jesus and the way he was, and his love, and, just being unconditional. And he brought love to everything that he did, and, how he spoke. And he always remembered that he wasn't judging people. He was there loving people, but also guiding people to see the truth of where they were at and where we could be, And so that was really amazing. And then 2 messages came out and it was 2 different cards, but it had the same message on 2 cards, which was really interesting. and that was the body never lies. And it was so interesting because when I read this card, it talked about how we know the truth. When the truth comes through us, that is how we determine inside. We determine inside whether something's true or not. And we can actually feel the truth because spirit talks through us. And that's why it's important to pay attention, become aware of how we're feeling, because our feeling is our intuition, in tuned intuition. And that is in connection with spirit and the way spirit talks with us. So if we can pay attention to how we feel about something or how we feel about someone or a situation, that is our guiding light, essentially. And that is spirit guiding us and trying to get our attention and have us pay attention to the truth within us. That is something that is super, super important. I found it very interesting because to me, it confirmed that you felt the truth. You felt that what you did was right because it was aligned with your truth. And you knew, based on how I felt about certain situation, I had to say something. I could not say something. So I felt like spirit was saying that that's okay. That's okay. And then the other card, like I said, was the Christ card, reminding me about love, about unconditional love and having no judgment for other people when they do make mistakes and when certain things happen. Still loving them and holding love for them in my heart, irregardless of the situation. And that is something I've been coming back to and remembering and implementing in my life. Even kids that have been mean to my daughter, I pray for them and I imagine things becoming better for them. I wish them well. I really change the narrative and I change the way that I'm perceiving it. And I'm being honest when I say this too. It literally changes the outcome and it changes the reality of things. So it's something I'm working on. It's something that I feel we could all benefit from. Changing the way we perceive certain situations and people in our lives that might be difficult really does change the outcome. And if we remember to do everything based in love, centered in love, and remembering that during challenges, we can become closer to God and our God essence, the Christ consciousness. We can embody more of that divine light. And it's all around us for us to access. We just have to remember it. We have to implement it. And we have to know that it's okay for us to speak our truth. And there's nothing wrong with doing so, Just be aware of how you say things and your intention behind what you're saying and what you are trying to get to, the point you're trying to get to. So I thought I would share that with you guys because, like I said, it was something that was just very interesting last night. I also did like a little cleansing session and I had my guides, the angels, do a cleansing for me. And it was so amazing. I had this really cool experience I'll share with you. I had this like wave of cold air. It felt like a waterfall, like wash over me, and it enveloped all of me and like all of my body and energy. I actually, for a second, thought my AC was on because it was so cold. And so I went to the vent up on the ceiling and I was putting my hands up there and it felt warm. I only felt warmth coming out. But I noticed as I was moving around, I still felt enveloped in this like cold air. And then I had this realization that what I had asked for was happening. I was being cleansed because I could feel, like I said, this waterfall feeling of just clearing my energy. And it was really amazing, really cool experience. I haven't experienced something like that before. So that was really, really interesting and amazing. But yeah, so anyways, wanted to share that with you guys. I hope that this video helped you in some way shape, or form. And until next time, my friends, take very, very good care of yourself. I love you all. Goodbye.